I have here with me the founder of Dubai's very own vegan community, Assile Beydoun, who has been a vegan for 5 years herself. Assile is also the author of up-and-coming book called Let Us Live a Better, which is releasing in February. Lettuce meaning the salad. Okay. Assile, thank you so much for joining me today. It's a pleasure to have you. Assile, now you have a 6-year-old son and you are trying to raise him in the vegan way. How do you think this is helping you as a family? And how do you think it's shaping his journey?
So thank you for having me. First of all, really excited about being here. I think when it comes to raising my son, and as it is with raising any children, really, when you think about how do we want to bring up our kids, it's always two things, right? We want them to be healthy, and we want them to be, we want to raise them in line with our values and for what we believe is the best version they can be of themselves. So I think when it comes to veganism, it's kind of a bit of both. When it comes to being healthy, it's all about teaching him about the right foods to eat and about plant-based diet and the benefits of it. And just like I teach him how to cross the street safely and not to run with scissors, I also teach him about what to eat and the type of food that is good for your body, that feeds your soul. The nice thing about veganism is it comes with a lot of education on the type of food, right? Of what's healthy, what fuels you, and what kind of is junk food or is that cheat meal. So there's the keeping them healthy aspect, and then there is the aspect of just wanting them to be close versions of yourself, which is teaching them about compassion, about not causing harm to other animals, about a world where we can all live together, where we can look at every life as a sentient life and as a life worth respecting. And I think again, it's an individual choice, but it is the values that I have personally. So it just makes sense that my children have them as well.
What are the challenges of raising children in a vegan way today? Is it healthy to raise them vegan when they're so young? We've always had that saying, milk does your body good. So how do we cross that?
I mean, so just let me clarify. So a well-planned plant-based diet is ideal for all life stages, including childhood. So with the right planning and the right knowledge, a child will get everything they need, and it's perfectly suitable for any life stage. I would say the biggest challenge that I face usually is people kind of judging this as an upbringing of being, they call it extreme, or that it's imposing your own beliefs on your children. The reality is, I would say that at the end of the day, this is how we raise children, right? Everything is technically our choice. Like it's our choice as parents, because we choose what school they go to, we choose how much screen time we give them, we choose if they get baptized. I mean, the cultural choices are always there, right? But this is again a choice that you make as a parent, and as I mentioned, it's basically to keep them safe and for them to become the people you want them to be. So the biggest challenge is having to explain that to people and having to get the judgment out of the picture when it comes to people thinking of this as extreme, or thinking that she's raising her kids the way she wants to be. Again, that's how you raise children at the end of the day, right? It's your own belief system to begin with.
Does it feel the same to be raising a child vegan, given that it's so trendy, even though veganism is like your ritual, it's your culture, it's your religion, right? So is it viewed the same way, or do you think it's viewed differently?
I think externally it is sometimes still viewed differently, just because it's not something that everyone understands yet. So a lot of people think that, this is a fad and they're imposing it on their children. My dad always used to tell me, like, no matter what you do anyway, society is going to frown upon it. So I would say it's a personal choice that you need to be convinced with, and you just need to realize that you are bringing up your kids in a way where you're proud of. If we call this imposing, then so be it. I mean, if teaching them from an early age that to be respectful of all living beings, be respectful of their own body, and eat things that are healthy for them, and to are these not the greatest lessons that we want to teach our kids?
When it comes to, for example, you have a 6-year-old son, when he goes to birthday parties, for example, when he goes to a park for a picnic with his friends, and these things will happen more and more, and soon when he's 12 and 13, he will become independent. Curiosity is also always there. So how will you deal with that? And how will you impose it? Will you not? What will you do?
So it's just teaching them to make the decision for themselves versus saying, no, you're not allowed to do this, or you're not allowed to be at that birthday party. And I think also to just enable that decision for them, it's always important to call up the parents beforehand. So whenever he has a play date, I make sure to mention that, oh, by the way, we prefer that he eats plant-based food. And so everyone is usually respectful of it, just like they're respectful if you have a peanut allergy, or for religious reasons, for example, you don't eat pork. It's really just another way of living, and people are usually respectful when you plan early.
So, Assile, you said you have a certification in plant-based nutrition from the Cornell University, so you're probably the best person to ask. Do you think that young children and growing children, are they supplemented more? Do they need to be supplemented more than kids who eat everything?
It's a very good question that I often get asked a lot. I think the reality is, again, as long as a diet is well planned and nutritious, it's more than enough to get everything you need. Right. But the reality is today, kids, even if they're not on a vegan diet, they are getting supplements all around, because all our milk is fortified, all our cereals are fortified. So there's nothing wrong with also, using fortified milks and cereals on a plant-based diet as well. That's what I believe personally. And honestly, that should be enough, because the reality is, getting, for example, calcium is a question I get a lot, because, kids need strong bones, they need calcium.
Yes.
A cup of cow's milk has around 300 milligrams of calcium. So does a cup of soy milk. The reality is, all our food is usually fortified, especially food that is easily accessible to all families. Again, or orange juice or cereals. It's very easy to get, the needed calcium, the needed iron. But these are also, I would say the backup. But the reality is, as long as they're having good lunches, as long as they're having, a lot of leafy greens and spinach and lentils and beans, that's more than enough to get your dietary needs.
Even the protein, because as a vegetarian, I myself worry about the protein, even the protein.
Even the protein, again, as long as it's well planned. I haven't personally met any kid or anyone with a protein deficiency around us. Usually that comes from really malnutrition kids where they don't have enough access to food. But as long as you're getting enough calories in, and they're good calories, usually they would include enough protein. I think culturally we've come to a place where we exaggerate a bit with the quantity we need of protein, just because of the gym muscle industry that pushes supplements. But the reality is, just eat what nature has provided. It's the cleanest way to eat. That's where, all the big animals like the giraffes and the gorillas and the rhinos, that's where they get their protein from the grass, like from nature.
Do you have sort of 5 tips that parents or families can use to really get on this journey and start it? Because it's so hard for someone who doesn't know how to cook in that way. Is there anything we need to do to prepare ourselves to start this lifestyle, to start this journey? How would you suggest getting on the bandwagon, getting on the vegan bandwagon?
So I would say, first I would say, do your research, like learn as much as you can, because there's going to be a lot of information out there. The reason I got a certification in plant-based nutrition was because I was overwhelmed by the amount of information, and I thought, okay, you know what, I want to do this right for me and for my family, and I wanted to get the expert's opinion. So I just wanted to read more and learn more. There's a lot of books out there. There's a lot of documentaries. You can do your own research. You don't have to get a certification. I would say knowledge is very important. The other thing I would say is just plan. So plan ahead. I always meal prep on Saturday, just so that during the week we don't panic about the fact that there's nothing available and what do we eat and we have to order in. And so planning in advance, including planning for birthday parties, planning for your lunch boxes for your kids when they go to school. So just planning is very important. The third tip I have is find a community, because it could be a lonely journey when you feel like the world is against you. And that was actually the reason I started Dubai Vegan Community, is because and of course there were a lot of vegan groups already in Dubai, but I just felt overwhelmed by the fact that I don't know anyone. I didn't have any friends who were raising their children vegan and who were actually vegan themselves. So I think find a community. Either if you don't find one near you, just create one, but build that relationship, because it's very important to have people go through the same journeys you're going through. And it's I think that's the case with everything in life, right? The other tip I would have is also just never mind what people say. People are going to judge you anyways, no matter how you bring up your kids, whatever school you put them in, whatever big choices you make for them. Do they have that cookie before dinner or do they not? People will judge. So I would say, just like any parenting decision, it's your decision and yours alone. So just go for what you believe is right. Raise them to be the kids you want them to be. And whatever that means for you, that's your journey and that's your choice. So those are kind of my tips, I would say, about how to start and where to start, and just gather information. Reach out to anyone. You can reach out to me if you don't know anyone in your close circles. Create that circle.
Yeah.
And we used to have a lot of events for the Dubai vegan community, which were great because so many people have met each other, even from a personal relationship and also professionally. So a lot of small businesses started because people have met through that community. So it's a beautiful thing to start and to be part of. Unfortunately, this year we haven't had a lot of live events, but hopefully it will come back. But again, create them for yourself. Find these circles. Just join any group, and it's a beautiful journey, I think, that anyone should experience.
Thank you so much. Also, Assile, do you have any information in your book that could help parents raising vegan children?
Definitely. The book actually, the principle of the book was that it was written to enable people transitioning, whether it's their individual journey, and there is a section on transitioning as a parent as well. So I would definitely encourage anyone to check out the book. If you would like to, I know it's not out yet, it will be out in February, but you can reach out to me to pre-order and to save a copy. It's a book that is built nonprofit, so all the donations will be any proceeds from it will be donated to an animal shelter in Bali. So it's also for a good cause, and it should help you transition as well into this journey.
Assile, thank you so much for being here. Guys, I hope that you found this really helpful. Assile is the founder of Dubai Vegan Community, which you can find on Instagram and on Facebook. If you have any questions, do send them here or do send them to her directly. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it's clarified any misconceptions you had about raising vegan children, if that's something you're considering. And I hope it's helped. Thank you for watching. Take care and see you soon. Bye.